Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Frankly Speaking tonight. And joining me tonight is India's very own legend, Mithali Raj. Mithali Raj, thank you for joining me on Frankly Speaking. You've just announced that you're hanging up your boots. मार्च में आपका लास्ट गेम था. ये अभी टाइमिंग आपकी रिटायरमेंट फ्रॉम इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट अभी क्यों आई? Because we are all feeling lost.
Actually, Navika, this retirement plan of mine was much before even, I went for the World Cup. It was there in my mind even last year because playing the World Cup was my goal. That was my purpose of, continuing after the 2017 World Cup. And with the pandemic, of course, losing out a couple of years, otherwise, the World Cup would have happened in 2021. Of course, it didn't go the way I wanted it to. But when I came back from the World Cup, clearly I didn't participate even in the T20 domestic because I already made up my mind of retiring. But I needed time to process it. Process first the fact that we didn't get into the top four, get to play the semi-finals. That really took some time. That hurt really took some time to heal. And then I took this decision and, of course, I conveyed it to the necessary authorities during the domestic tournament itself. So it's only a matter of announcing it officially, which I did on Wednesday. And I think, I pretty much was preparing for this day much before I announced it officially.
Mithali Raj, retirement is a word जिसमें बहुत finality है. Retirement मतलब कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में इस तरह का आता है कि अब हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे. लेकिन मिथाली राज का 23 इयर्स का करियर रहा है, तो कुछ नहीं करना तो कोई ऑप्शन शायद नहीं होगी. एटलीस्ट हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है. हाउ डू यू सी रिटायरमेंट फ्रॉम क्रिकेट इज just going into another phase, coach or maybe in some other form related to the game?
Definitely. I mean, I would love to be involved in the game, a game that has given me so much. I would love to give something back to the game, be involved in it. Fortunately, there have been so many avenues opening for cricketers post-retirement. So let's see what options or what avenues open for me and what excites me. So, but definitely it will do something with the sport. Yes.
बहुत छोटी उम्र से आपने तय कर लिया था. I think you were 14 when you decided that cricket was the future. And उस वक्त आपके सामने दो रास्ते थे, क्रिकेट या भरतनाट्यम. आज लगता है कि भरतनाट्यम होता तो सारी उम्र साथ रहता, क्रिकेट के साथ छूटा है.
well, दोनों चीज काफी अलग है. डांस इज समथिंग आप probably you can dance for a longer time than an athlete's shelf life because it has a very small shelf life in terms of their career. एक पॉइंट के बाद you cannot be because sport is something which has physical activity involved for very intense physical activity. Dance का अपना ही challenges definitely है. But मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जितना भी मैंने साल क्रिकेट खेलते हुए दिया है, I think I've thoroughly enjoyed the journey. More than on field, I think the lessons that I've learned through my journey, काफी ups and downs रही हैं. उन सारे events के through जो भी सीख मिली है, as it has altered my life, it has changed me to be a better person. So I see it that way. कि journey काफी meaningful रही है मेरे लिए.
मिताली राज, आज मैं एक वुमन टू वुमन कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रही हूँ और हम सब के लिए रास्ता थोड़ा ज़्यादा कठिन होता है, ऐसा हमें लगता है. और बहुत सी औरतें ये बयान भी करती हैं क्रिकेट में, फॉर्मल क्रिकेट में, और जिस तरह का आपका करियर रहा है, आपको लगता है कि एक औरत होने के नाते आपका रास्ता ज़्यादा कठिन था मेल क्रिकेटर्स के मुकाबले?
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि रास्ता कठिन जरूर था, लेकिन इट हैज मोर टू डू विद हाउ सोसाइटी इज परसीव्ड वुमेन क्रिकेटर्स। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जब मैंने शुरुआत किया था, जो जिस तरीके से क्वेश्चंस किए गए थे, आई थिंक इट वाज मोर ऑफ आउट ऑफ इग्नोरेंस फ्रॉम पीपल कि वुमेन्स क्रिकेट एग्जिस्टेड, क्या वुमेन क्रिकेटर्स या इंडियन वुमेन्स क्रिकेट टीम हमारे कंट्री में है। तो मे बी उस हिसाब से आई थिंक दोज क्वेश्चंस वेर रूटेड फ्रॉम देयर। लेकिन आपने सही कहा है कि एज अ स्पेशली हमारे इंडियन कल्चर में we have to work probably double the hard work we have to put, and to be recognized we have to be more successful, then only the society recognizes your accomplishments. I think I second the fact that as a woman we need to probably it requires us to put in more yards, more hard work, more yards to get recognized in the society.
पर मिताली जी, ज़्यादा काम करना पड़ता है और ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, ये तो शायद हम कहीं ना कहीं अपने दिमाग में प्रिपेयर्ड होते हैं कि हमें करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन उसके अलावा आपको लगता है कि औरतों के जस्ट हमको एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी के लिए भी ज़्यादा ट्राई करना पड़ता है और थिंग्स आर स्टैक्ड अगेंस्ट अस। हाल ही में कुछ ऐसे वाक़ये सामने आए हैं जिसमें साइकिलिंग में कोचेस के साथ प्रॉब्लम, सेक्सुअल एक्सप्लॉयटेशन, थिंग्स लाइक दैट। मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ कि अगर किसी आज की लड़की को क्रिकेट में जाना हो, क्या उसकी जर्नी आसान है? क्या क्या उसे लड़ना पड़ेगा, क्या क्या करना पड़ेगा?
मैं कहूँगी एज अ वुमेन क्रिकेटर डेफिनेटली इन टर्म्स ऑफ फैसिलिटीज, रिसोर्सेज और योर वेल बीइंग डेफिनेटली काफी इम्प्रूवमेंट है, बिकॉज आई से द करंट जनरेशन इज लकी बिकॉज वी आर अंडर अ वेरी influential, very strong board, BCCI. Everything, things in BCCI when it comes to women's cricket is followed in a very strict manner. So I don't see that any of the young cricketers or girls will face that sort of a harassment in women's cricket. And I personally haven't even come across anything like that. So I feel that the environment, the atmosphere is very positive and very optimistic towards girls, towards women cricketers.
आपने जब शुरू किया था 1999 में, तब कैसा था?
Well, as I said, कि personally तो मैंने I've never felt that sort of a vibe from any of the my colleagues that I have worked with, or coaches or support staff, male support staff. I have never faced any sort of sexual harassment, but I would say that the journey back then in terms of resources, in terms of facilities, जब मैंने शुरू किया था, it was very difficult because we were not under BCCI, so we were under WCI, a different organization. And उस वक्त वुमेन्स क्रिकेट के बारे में काफी लोगों को पहचान नहीं था. They didn't know about women's cricket existed in our country. To see a girl carrying a kit bag and getting into an academy full of boys, it was a very different sight for them, something very different. And जब भी हमारे सोसाइटी में कुछ different, कुछ अलग सा या कुछ नया दिखता है, there will always be people हमेशा ये बोलते हैं कि उसके लिए opposing vibes तो ज्यादा होता ही है, क्योंकि कुछ नया दिखता है तो हमेशा पहले बोलते हैं कि ये तो नहीं हो सकता ना, लड़की से कुछ नहीं हो सकता. So those things I have definitely faced in my initial phase as a cricketer.
और जब आप कैप्टन बनी तो एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी, टॉकिंग एज एन इक्वल, एंड अगर कंपैरिजन हो मेंस क्रिकेट टीम की और वुमेन्स क्रिकेट टीम की, उतनी ही इज्जत, उतनी ही पॉपुलैरिटी कभी भी मिली?
Well, popularity तो अभी I'm sure things are getting better, क्योंकि women's cricket in the last few years have really grown from strength to strength. after the 2017 World Cup, clearly in terms of popularity. And as far as respect is concerned, I'm sure, like, there are so many fan following, fan base for each and every women cricketer for the women's team. It will only grow. The thing that I see future about women's cricket is there is a lot of scope for improvement, but also there will be growth and very good growth. As far as comparisons are concerned, वो तो होगा ही हमारे society में. And I personally am not a big fan of comparisons, leave alone men and women. But in terms of player to player itself, I'm not a big fan of it. Lekin we can't really change that thing in terms of the general public. अगर किसी को respect देना तो it definitely has to come from the entire society to respect women cricketers.
वो रिस्पेक्ट मिलती है कि नहीं सोसाइटी से?
आई थिंक कभी कभार मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कभी कभार ऐसा डेफिनेटली लगता है कि जब हम हारते हैं एज अ टीम, व्हेन द इंडियन वुमेन्स टीम लूजेस, देयर इज सो मच ऑफ अटैक इन टर्म्स ऑफ जेंडर. लेकिन इफ अ मेंस टीम लूजेस, दे आर मोर towards the technical aspect, strategy के aspect के हिसाब से, there is criticism. But when it comes to the women, I think they attack कि नहीं, लड़कियों से कुछ नहीं होता, क्या है इतना स्लो खेलती है या इतना कम स्कोर करते हैं, क्या है ये पेस बॉलिंग, इसमें स्पीड ही नहीं है. So when I see these sort of things, it feels very sad that they don't recognize us for the standard that we set in women's cricket. Why does it need to be compared to men's cricket standard? Why can't you see the women's team setting a standard in women's cricket? I wish people could see, and I hope that there will come a time when they see that in a way that, the Indian women's team is setting a standard in women's cricket. Because clearly, biologically, we can never match the way the men are. I mean, no matter how much we try. So if you see the sport for its own beauty in terms of women's cricket, I think you will find joy in seeing the team do well.
आपके इतने सारे रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, मतलब अगर मैं सेंचुरीज की बात करूं तो आपने इतनी सेंचुरीज, हाफ सेंचुरीज बनाई हैं. आपका करियर इटसेल्फ, यू आर द थर्ड लॉन्गेस्ट सर्विंग प्लेयर. और अगर अब सेकंड नंबर पे जो है उनको हटा दिया जाए क्योंकि 10 साल उन्होंने क्रिकेट खेली ही नहीं थी, तो शायद आप वर्ल्ड में सेकंड होंगी. लेकिन जिस तरह के आपने रिकॉर्ड्स सेट किए हैं, आपको लगता है कि उतनी अटेंशन दी जाती है विमेंस क्रिकेट को? और पे पैरिटी है क्या?
Yeah, this is a very frequently asked question about pay parity, and I've always maintained that again I would say that जो men's cricket जो जगह पे है आज, it's because they had a journey as a men's sport. Men's cricket अपने ही sport में एक journey रही है from 1983 World Cup से. Even they have gone through a phase where they probably haven't paid any penny, and then they've come to a point where today they are into central contracts. They have been looked after. Similarly, I think women's cricket also is having its own journey. At one point, we were never paid anything, but the sport continued its journey to a point today कि we do have central contracts. May not be on par with the men's team, but the girls are centrally contracted. उससे काफी चीजें help हुई है, like girls from a very humble background where the family completely dependent on those girls. They are centrally contracted. They are able to look after their family. I think that's a great, a great thing from BCCI in the last 4-5 years. And I'm sure it will get better. क्योंकि अभी next year the IPL आ रही है, women's IPL. So slowly things will get better. जो चीजें when it comes to pay parity, people expect it to overnight चीजें change होंगी. Anything to change, it will take some time. And if the team continues to do well, I definitely think will look better and bright.
मिताली जी, एक सवाल आपसे किसी ने कभी पूछा था, और ये पूछा था कि आपके फेवरेट मेल क्रिकेटर कौन है, तो आपने उसका जवाब दिया था कि ऐसा सवाल मेल क्रिकेटर से क्यों नहीं पूछा जाता. इस कमेंट के पीछे आपकी क्या सोच थी?
वेल दैट वाज क्वाइट, वो काफी इंस्टेंट रही है, क्योंकि काफी उसके पहले काफी ऐसे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस मैंने अटेंड किया था एज द कैप्टन ऑफ कोर्स, कोई भी सीरीज के पहले। तो जब कोई क्वेश्चंस नहीं होता वो ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस पूछ लेते हैं। तो आई वाज थिंकिंग कि ये तो कोई, इट इज नॉट इन रिलेशन टू द सीरीज दैट द टीम इज गोइंग टू प्ले, तो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस क्यों पूछते हैं? सो आई वाज अ लिटिल, मतलब ऑब्वियसली यू फील अ लिटिल इरिटेटेड कि जो क्वेश्चंस आप एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस आप एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, तो आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो कि जो प्लेटफॉर्म है वो इट हैज, द क्वेश्चन शुड बी रिलेटेड टू द टीम गेटिंग इनटू अ सीरीज and not something completely out of context. And I felt that, you know, it was a big event. It was an ODI World Cup we were getting into. And being asked a question like that, I felt it was quite frivolous.
तो सिर्फ फ्रिवलस लगा या कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा जो हम लोगों में एक फेमिनिज्म होता है कि हम विमेन को वैसे नहीं ट्रीट किया जाता एज अ होल, हमेशा कंपैरिजंस एंड समटाइम्स अनइक्वल कंपैरिजन होता है, गुस्सा आता है इससे?
Well, when it comes, अगर comparisons unequal, as I said before, अगर आप comparisons की बात कर रहे हैं, I'm not a very big fan of it. And if people have unreasonable comparisons, then अगर मैं एक, if I say I'm in early 20s, गुस्सा तो उस वक्त आती है. लेकिन now if you're old enough to understand from where it stems and what are the circumstances around it, you sort of brush it off because you don't want to give it energy and feel bad about it, because you can't do anything about someone else's perspective.
Really? आपको लगता है we can't do anything about other people's perspective?
I see. I'm not someone who would spend my energy in changing people's opinions or perspective. But yes, if there is something, if I have the ability to turn things around, to in some way influence them to change their perspective or opinion, I would definitely do that. And that in a way that I've used my skill, I've used the sport to do that in some capacity. But yeah, I mean, it all boils down to how you, in what capacity that you can influence people to change the perspective. But you can't force anybody to change their opinion, without probably you making an effort.
मिताली जी, आई वांट टू आस्क यू कि आपका जितना करियर स्पैन रहा है ऑलमोस्ट 23 साल का, इसमें सब कुछ फेयर रहा है या अनफेयर ट्रीटमेंट हुआ है जब आपको गुस्सा आया है? और गुस्से से ज़्यादा कभी कभी लगता है कि जितना मर्जी लड़ लो, शायद ये पॉलिटिक्स कह लीजिए या एक सिस्टम होता है जहाँ फोर्सेस वर्क ऑन डिफरेंट इश्यूज रादर देन कैपेबिलिटीज, उसमें शायद अब हार जाएंगे, अब नहीं हो पाएगा। ऐसा कभी हुआ आपके साथ?
इतने लंबे जर्नी में ऑफ कोर्स देयर हैव बीन इंस्टेंसेस वेयर आई वाज डेल्ट अनफेयरली। उस मोमेंट में आपको डेफिनेटली हर्ट होती है, because you feel that it is unfair, and you definitely feel anger because athlete is also human. We also feel all those emotions that everybody feels. But I think what I learned from the sport is every moment has to pass, and you can't dwell into one particular moment for a long time, because then you will lose out your purpose. And I'm very purpose oriented person, and it took me some time to get over it, but eventually I did, because it was important for me to get over that so that I can focus on my goal again. So yeah, it will take some time, but eventually you will.
Did you leave on the best of notes, or could it have been better?
Well, I think because I've decided to retire after the World Cup, so there is no best or not so best terms. I've enjoyed thoroughly these 20 to 23 years of my career, and I think I'm in a very happy space. I don't think there is any regret or I should have retired now or I should have retired before. I have no such thoughts at all. I think it was the right time, and I took that call.
मिताली जी, मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ, आपने शादी भी नहीं की, और जब भी लड़कियों का करियर और स्पेशली स्पोर्टिंग करियर की बात होती है तो सबसे पहले पूछा जाता है आप सेटल डाउन नहीं करेंगी क्या? बिकॉज हमारी सोसाइटी में शायद शादी के बाद ही कोई सेटल डाउन होता है. शादी के बिना सेटल डाउन का कॉन्सेप्ट शायद एग्जिस्ट करता नहीं था, शायद थोड़ा बदल रहा है, पर पहले तो नहीं करता था. आपको कभी ऐसा लगा कि आपके लिए दो टफ चॉइसेस हैं या प्रेशर्स हैं आपके ऊपर, वन और दी अदर, दोनों साथ में नहीं हो सकते?
Well, like any other girl, even I've gone through that phase where I was current India captain, and that wasn't enough for my relatives. They wanted me to settle down. वो एक होती है ना stamp कि unless and until you're settled down, you're married. You're not achieved anything or you've not done anything good. So it was something which felt weird for me, because being a current India captain is a huge thing. Lekin it wasn't good enough. So even I've gone through that phase, but I think I was very clear that I wanted to continue my career. I'm career-oriented person. I realized that very young, and playing for the country is an honor that very few get to live, and I'm one of the fortunate. And why should I, stick to the societal pressure and get married? So I stuck my guns, and I told I would opt to continue my career. I would want to invest in my career, and थोड़ी बहुत चीजें होती हैं from the family side, emotional drama and stuff like that. But I guess I had the support of my dad. I had support of my brother in this, and both of them stood by me in my decision to continue my career.
That's fantastic. पर आपने मम्मी का नाम नहीं लिया, सो आपकी मदर की तरफ से प्रेशर था?
Obviously,
सब मदर्स का होता है.
Which I said, the emotional drama was pretty much from my mother. इसीलिए मैंने उनका नाम नहीं लिया. And I think it is valid as a mother. Probably she felt she wanted a daughter married and settled. वो होती है हर मदर की ड्रीम.
तो अब शी इज कम टू टर्म्स के अब भी आपके पीछे पड़ी रहती हैं?
नहीं, अभी नहीं है, but I think she understood. I think what her daughter wanted, where her happiness, her daughter's happiness is, and she understood the amount of hard work I've put in over the years. She herself has put in the hard work, and my father. So the entire family has put in. So after a certain point, she understood how things are, and she accepted it.
मिताली, I want to ask you, as a woman achiever, आपने इतना लंबा प्रोफेशनल क्रिकेट का करियर रखा है, आपने ट्रैवल भी बहुत किया होगा विद इन इंडिया, आउटसाइड इंडिया. कभी लोनली होता है? बिकॉज yes, parents are there, coaches are there are your teammates are there, but at a personal level kabhi loneliness, और वो कहते हैं ना एक at the top you're very alone, वैसा कभी लगा?
It is, as you rightly said, when you're at the top, there's only space for one person. So obviously you can't have anyone else. You definitely feel lonely in that sense. On tours, when you know that when you have to take tough decisions, when you're dealing with some emotional stress, and you definitely feel lonely sometimes, especially when you're a captain, because the decisions that you have to make, and tough decisions, it can be a lonely place, and I've led for a long time, so yes. But for a girl who left home, in the sense, like, I started touring when I was 10-year-old kid, so I enjoy my company and my books, so yeah.
मैं आपके ऊपर, आपकी लाइफ पर एक फिल्म भी बन रही है, शाबाश मिठू. आई थिंक तापसी पन्नू इज प्लेइंग योर कैरेक्टर. आप मतलब जो भी आपका कैरेक्टर प्ले कर रहा होगा वो आपसे बात करा होगा, आप अपने कैरेक्टर में सबसे ज्यादा क्या देखना चाहेंगी?
मैं अपने कैरेक्टर जिस what I am, I would like to see that on screen because through someone else's eyes. Because हमेशा हमको लगता है कि I am this person. सबको ऐसा लगता है कि I am this person. You have a notion about yourself, but you don't know what others think of you. So I would like to see it on television, how people look at me, or how when they look at me, what do they understand about me, or how I come across, or what are the characters that they have seen. So I would like to see a reflection of what I am to people on the screen.
But who is Mithali Raj the person? Is she a fun-loving person? Is she a person who's very serious, reading, focused on career? Or is she somebody के थोड़ा हंसी मजाक, थोड़ा फूल अराउंड, थोड़ा जोक्स, थोड़ा गाने, थोड़े फिल्म्स? मिताली राज कौन है?
I'm fun with people that I'm comfortable with. Very few people. In a sense, in some sense, you can say I'm an introvert. I take time to open up. I would take a few, 3 times to interact and then open up. So, but I do show my composure might come across like, okay, she's quite serious person, but I don't show my emotions. I'm more an internalized person. So, but I do have fun. I do have fun with my friends. Once you get to know me, you will probably tell that Mithali is very talkative.
Oh my God! So we've seen a Mithali जो अपने blues में with the cap and scoring runs, focused.
Yeah.
तो आपका
I think वो position required me to sort of be very focused. That razor type focus, because when you're leading India and when you're playing for India, you can't, you probably have to align everything that you have, all your energy and focus in being the best player or the best captain that you can. But off the field, you're just like I'm just like everybody else. I like to have fun, go out, hang out with friends, probably watch a movie sometime occasionally. So I just end up doing everything that everybody does. I'm no different.
So what's your favorite movie and who's your favorite actor?
Well, there have been many movies that I've been that's been my favorite. Of course, I haven't really watched any movie in the recent past. But one of my favorite movies, which my first coach has shown me, was about martial arts, the 36 Chambers of Shaolin, because it has influenced me in terms of my rigorous training, which helps to sort of, have that, that sort of focus which is required to train each day, every day, even if it is boring, mundane days. But you have to go through those kind of routines. So that movie has really shaped me as a young kid. So I would say that has been one of my favorite movies.
आपको तो क्रिकेट खेलने के लिए इसलिए फोर्स किया गया था कि आप थोड़ी लेजी थी शायद, और आपके फादर सुबह 4 बजे पहुंच जाते थे आपको खिलाने के लिए, तो बहुत डिसिप्लिन्ड अपब्रिंगिंग रही आपकी?
जी, बहुत ही डिसिप्लिन और रेजिमेंटल अपब्रिंगिंग रही है, क्योंकि डैड एयरफोर्स से थे, तो डिसिप्लिन तो घर में इट वाज पार्ट ऑफ आवर एटमॉस्फेयर एट होम एनवायरनमेंट. तो सबसे लेट उठती थी मैं, तो ओनली टू इनकलकेट दैट हैबिट ऑफ अर्ली राइजिंग, आई थिंक आई वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड टू द स्पोर्ट. एंड अभी तो अभी एक हैबिट हो गई है जल्दी उठने की. इवन दो आई डोंट वांट टू गेट अप, आई एंड अप गेटिंग अप अर्ली.
एंड देन what do you do when you wake up now? And you've said कि आपने रिटायरमेंट अनाउंस करती है, तो अब कुछ अलग लगता है पिछले 3-4 दिनों में, जो सेंस ऑफ एक पर्पस रहता है when you are in active cricket and the discipline, the training, suddenly थोड़ा सा void, थोड़ा सा vacuum कुछ नजर आ रहा है कि you're enjoying it?
Well, I think probably I'm wired a little differently. I think I don't see the void, but I'm someone who's always banged on routine, on habits. So yes, the habit of going to the ground early in the morning may not be anymore, but I continue to train. I do my fitness every day. That has been part of my regime for years, and I don't see why I should stop it, even though I might not play professional cricket. So I do my training. I do everything else. Maybe I may not go to the ground. The life has become a little slow. Earlier, I used to plan for the next series. I don't have to do that anymore. But I end up reading a lot more these days, and until I find a good avenue where I will probably get into, until then I'm finding a decent routine that I can go through every day.
Mithali, there's always been this question about India, Pakistan playing cricket together.
Yeah.
आपको लगता है कि India, Pakistan at the level of sports should continue to be engaged?
Well, see, I feel that when these things are, as a player, it is best to be left to the board, because they are better judged to see whether they want to go ahead with the game or not, India Pakistan or not, and the international board.
But what does Mithali Raj think?
Well, I feel that as long as players get matches, get tournaments, because that's how we benefit. If we keep playing more matches, I think the players will get better. The Indian team gets better.
And you don't think politics between the countries should impact sports, or do you think it does come in anyway? Because sports और खास करके क्रिकेट पूरा देश देखता है. मतलब it's almost a religion in this country, cricket. आपको लगता है बहुत इमोशंस उसके साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं, और वो इमोशंस कहीं ना कहीं एक बेयरिंग रखती हैं इन फैसलों पर?
Well, see, sport के साथ तो I think entire country's emotions are attached. But I guess as long as people enjoy matches, it should not be looked as India, Pakistan. Even India, Australia के matches बहुत अच्छे होते हैं. Recently India, South Africa के matches. So why only relate to India, Pakistan? Why are we making it so big? I think it's important that let's focus on India's game with any team. Whichever team we play, we have our emotions there for India. So I don't think we should sort of differentiate between the international teams and see that only this particular game has more emotions. I feel as a player and even as cricket lover, as an athlete, I feel that India plays any opposition, my emotions will always remain the same. I don't look forward to a particular opponent that India is going to play.
Let me ask you. हमेशा ये कहा जाता है कि औरतें एक दूसरे की I just want to ask you, in the middle of all of this, people say कि women are the biggest enemies of women. Women cricket team में ऐसा होता है, people pulling down each other?
Why do people feel that women are the biggest enemy of women?
कहते हैं ना, वो सास बहू सीरियल्स में यही कहते हैं. हमारी सोसाइटी में ऐसा एक इम्प्रेशन है.
Well, I think that impression should change. In fact, if you asked me earlier about changing perspectives, I think that is something all of us need to change in the first instance, about women being enemy of women. I think हर एक environment में जहाँ पे competition होती है, whether women to women or men to men, वो चीजें तो होती है. There will always be. You'll always find obstacles, in whichever field you chose. And having a long career, clearly, probably there will be a lot of jealousies, envies around. But that is where you don't find it. Everywhere it is. So, चीजें ऐसे हर फील्ड में होती है.
मैं ये भी पूछना चाहती हूँ कि बहुत लंबा एक दौर रहा जहाँ यूएस ओपन में मेंस टेनिस के प्राइज मनी ज़्यादा थी, विमेंस टेनिस की प्राइज मनी कम थी. आपको लगता है कि अभी भी ये सिलसिला पूरी तरह सॉल्व नहीं हुआ है? अभी भी विमेंस स्पोर्ट्स को प्राइज मनी के तौर पे या पे पैरिटी के तौर पे अभी बहुत फासला तय करना बाकी है, और ये फासला कब और कैसे तय होगा?
I think I don't know कि मैं ये I cannot really comment on the tennis sport because I don't know anything much about the tennis administration or how things are in that sport. लेकिन when it comes to women's sport, बहुत बड़ा change has to come from people. The more people appreciate, recognize women athletes, चीजें change नहीं होंगी. How much ever you want the boards around the globe to change, they will organize tournaments. They are going to promote the women cricketers or the women's sport. But if you don't get viewers, if you don't get people turn out to watch women athletes, how are you going to promote the sport? There is that section of it as well, that people in general have to recognize women athletes, women's sport. Unless and until that chunk, that factor of it doesn't turn out, it's always going to be thoda bahut to hoga hi. We will always be fighting this battle. क्योंकि boards, federations अपने तरीके से तो they are doing their best. लेकिन as commoners, as general public, अगर हम positive नहीं है, अगर हम we don't turn out to the matches, tournaments, if we don't talk about accomplishments, the struggles of women athletes, then who is going to do that?
मिताली जी, आई एम स्केर्ड टू आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन बिकॉज आपने एक रिपोर्टर को बिल्कुल डांट दिया था. आपने कहा ये फ्रिवलस क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन मैं फिर भी आई विल ट्राई एंड आई विल आस्क यू. आपके एंड आई एम नॉट मेकिंग दिस अ जेंडर इशू, आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग यू हु आर द मोस्ट प्रॉमिसिंग क्रिकेटर्स दैट यू सी टुडे, men stroke women?
Well, see, I see that there are a lot of talented young girls in the squad, in the Indian women's team. We have Shefali, who's been who's quite the potential that she has. Yastika Bhatia is there, and Richa Ghosh is there. So I think these girls can really play for another. I see them play for another 8-9 years, and they have the potential to change the game, because now women's cricket is in a way that the standard is improving. So they probably will be one of those players who are going to set a different standard for women's cricket, and they are the players to look forward to if you're going to see them in women's IPL next year.
No favorites in the men cricket team?
Well, men cricketers, I think there are so many talented players in men's cricket. So, yeah. Abhi men's cricket mein to I think you can really have 2-3 teams. Men's cricket, they're so talented. I've just watched few of the men's IPL games, and every game they have some new talent sprouting out, and just not one or two, like 3-4 of them. And it's just amazing to see what men's IPL has done for men's cricket, and I'm really hoping that women's IPL will do similar to women's team.
Any conversations with BCCI in getting involved in something like that, in the future?
Well, let's see as and when. If right now I'm just taking a break, so we'll see.
Are you saying no conversation, or are you saying there is a to and fro?
Well, I would say that right now I'm taking a break. So when I come back from the break, then we will see.
And in your break, what do you plan to do? Holiday, Bharatnatyam, music?
Well, if you guys just leave me for some time, maybe I would just enjoy my holiday.
Well, how can we leave you alone at all? You've been a star and you've taken cricket in India for women from where to where, and I think you are an icon of the masses. So how can we
Well,
allow?
honestly, on a serious note, I think it is important that women's sport in our country, women athletes, women cricketers need the support of the media also to promote the sport. So you guys you've played a good role. Maybe you'll have a huge role to play in promoting women's sport in our country.
What would be your message to your teammates who are no longer your teammates? What would be your message to them today?
Well, I wish them the best for the Sri Lanka series. The team is touring Sri Lanka, and then of course this time cricket is part of the Commonwealth in a T20 format. So I wish them well even in the Commonwealth. It's another opportunity for the team to do well. And going forward, I will definitely be following the growth of the team. And I can foresee that it's only good things to happen, moving forward. Wishing them the best.
And any advice to young girls who want to become ace cricketers like you?
Well, I think it's the right time to take up cricket as a sport, as a profession. And any journey will always have its challenges. Learn to accept the challenge, work hard, and dream big and follow your dream. Yeah.
And are you nervous about your biopic which is coming out? And are you happy with Taapsee playing Mithali?
Well, I'm definitely a bit nervous, to be very honest, because I don't know how people will accept the movie. In that terms, yes, I'm a bit nervous. And as far as Taapsee is concerned, I think that that girl has really worked hard. Acting is her skill, cricket is not. But then I've seen her she tried very hard to ace the shots, the body language, and everything. I think she's done a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing the movie myself.
Just as the rest of the country. But Mithali, before I let you go, I just want to ask you, what's the legacy of Mithali Raj? What is she leaving behind?
Well, honestly, I don't know how to answer this, but all I can say is I'm very happy to leave women's cricket in where it is today. It's come a long way, and I know that it is safe and it's only going to grow into a far more bigger sport. That's all I can come up with, honestly.
And would you want to hum something and a favorite song of yours, maybe?
I'm not a music person at all.
At all?
Yeah.
How can you be a dance person and not a music person? I thought.
Well, actually, dance I quit long back, and that was more of a classical dance. So because I left it when I was in 10th, so it's been really long. And music has not been my cup of tea, not really. So. And जब भी बस में होते हैं तो कोई भी गाना चला लेते, it never mattered to me. So I would just listen to any song the girls played. I would just listen to.
Great talking to you, Mithali. Such an inspiration for millions of girls in India who probably didn't think of sports as a career. But with you setting an example and with the career graph that you're leaving behind, I'm sure you're an inspiration for many to follow the path that you've trodden with such aplomb. Thank you very much for bringing Indian cricket where it has and thank you very much. For the woman in blue, and that image is just so powerful that it makes you an icon of India.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.